Hi dancers! Today's topic is a bit off from the usual, but today I'm going to be talking about dancing through my old injuries. I'll be showing some of my old videos here also. What do you think about dancing through old injuries? And maybe some of you might be able to relate to dancing through injuries, or you are injured and watching this and wondering how you're going to get through this, because it is still a topic that a lot of dancers more now talk about. I love how professional dancers talk about it more and more, and they talk about their journey of healing. I got my injury at 13. I will not forget this. I had a teacher who would really pull my leg up, all the way up to my head from my back. So I'd be doing an arabesque and she'd be so excited to pull it up beside my head, because I was really flexible, I was really long. As you know, I love to stretch, but I did not know my body very well. I heard a really, really loud click on my back, and then I just felt the entire pain go through my entire leg, just like that, like the whole leg. I don't talk about this a lot because I don't really want to blame my teacher for it. I mean, I love all my teachers and they're still here and they still teach, and I hope they don't do the same thing still. It's just I feel as though it was just something that was forever already. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with my back. I'm sure you know this feeling. You get every scan, you get every x-ray, you get MRI scans, and you still get the same kind of feedback from most doctors. Most of the time they'll say, oh, it's a sprain, oh, it's like this, and then you do the recovery, but you get the injury again, so you don't exactly know what's happening. And back then, the only thing they told me was go to therapy and go and rest it. When you're dancing that early in a company, and back then I was already I was just a half scholar, I think. Back then I was like 13, or like a full scholar of the company. So I had to actually do my production at the same time, also still get through my injury. So obviously I was forced to heal my injury quickly. And I'm sure you can also relate to this. Sometimes your work is so fast-paced, and the dancing or the nature of your work is like you have a deadline. So you kind of also have to be well by that point. And how about the rehearsals? Don't you also have to be there? So I really had to heal it as quick as I can. And the best thing for that was the ultrasounding. I don't know if you guys know, the machine is the thing that goes like that, and then the pain was really gone. And the doctor even offered to inject steroids at that point. And I remember thinking, okay, maybe it's gonna help. But I didn't do it because my mom was a bit scared of that. So I remember going, okay, I guess I can just bear through the pain. So I did. I mean, I had a really bad pain, but still danced. I remember I would walk this way. Like, I was like slanting. I was like an old person. And it was really hard because the doctor would even say, why are you walking like that? I mean, I was 13. I don't exactly also know how much pain I can endure, but I would go through it. So even through the lifts, even through everything, and then I just go out the wings and I'd be, this is really, really painful. So most of the time it was like that. That was my main and my biggest injury. I could not really figure that out till maybe I was pre-pandemic. I could not figure out what was wrong until I finally got an MRI scan that said that my the last two or the last three parts of my spine was a herniated disc, all three of them. And I realized that's where the pain was coming from. So all I actually needed was a lot of strengthening work. And actually, through the years, I really took Pilates when I started 18. And I knew it helped. It's just that a lot of things do trigger that herniated disc. And I knew when it was cold, my lower back would start hurting. So I started doing a lot of the contraction exercises that I've taught. So I know how to deal with it now. So now you have this way of coping with your injury at the same time, knowing it's always going to be there. But getting it very early in my dancing career, it was really difficult also because my arabesques could never work the same way anymore. It's so funny because I had very, very nice arabesques when I was younger. It's just that after I got this, created this, I could not lift my leg in any other way. And it healed so strangely because I guess I was so used to just bearing the pain. And I still really try to work on them, but I never try to force them anymore. Yeah, that's most of my injury healing. And probably you guys can relate to this, I think. Like, I had a student who was talking about it also, dancing through it, needing to push and needing to also pull back, and you just don't know where to balance that anymore as a dancer because you're thinking, how much can I dance on this and how much can I not dance on it? But I really just dance through the entire thing. So I don't know if you guys can also relate to the exact same thing. I got that. I got the same herniated disc acting up, and at the same time I sprained my ankle, and then my Achilles was also inflamed. And I knew it was not good because I was doing a pas de deux at that time. But I really danced on my sprained ankle. It's not a good thing to actually do things like that because you don't really heal them very well. I think there are certain sprains that you can, I'm not saying you should go through, it's just that there are certain sprains that you know it's more, okay, I just move a little bit but I just don't jump so much, so you kind of adjust. But in this case, I remember not being able to go on my point shoes without really crying. But I danced through the entire pas de deux, really leaving the stage feeling like I was about to cry. But I just went, okay, I'm just gonna go through this whole thing again and again and again. But yeah, my last injury was that one because I will never forget it. And I don't regret doing it because doing the dance, obviously, I mean, like, it was memorable to me. But looking back, and then looking back as a teacher, I do wish that I did a lot of things really differently, a lot of healing process differently. Because after that, I remember not even taking care of my injury anymore. So yeah. So now I have different injuries to deal with, which are more teaching related injuries. Because I got used to dancing on Zoom, where I would only use my left side instead of my right, so I could demonstrate the right side for the kids. Then I ended up straining my right thigh, and it was locked for a whole year. But I danced through the entire year also just teaching with that pain. I remember my therapist saying, I can't understand how you danced on this because after this, you're probably going to tear the muscle already and you're close to tearing it. But I actually danced through the entire 2 years like that. But I guess the pain threshold gets really high for dancers that you don't really know what's painful anymore or how much pain you're actually going through for a normal person. So now I have this pain threshold that's like, for a normal human, this is probably a 10, and then for me, this is probably a 2. So I know now that this is not really a painful, same pain level for each person. So I don't know if you guys can also see your pain this way as well. That's maybe where the dance industry, I hope, can put in more time and effort to learn, especially with teachers who were used to a certain way of pushing themselves. And that's a big topic right now in the dance industry, where we should be more careful even as teachers to show where to push and where to not push, you know, because there are certain things that are just pains of the muscle, and then there are certain things that are more, yeah, I think it's okay, and then these are not okay, especially when you hear the weird clicking sounds or like really sharp pains already. Yeah, I'd love to talk about this a little bit more, but I don't want to have the vlog to be so long, but I hope that you guys can maybe relate to it. If you have stories about it, it's definitely something that I think we could talk about more. So yeah, thanks guys!